Okay, I'm just gonna say, Xenothreat sucks. I've always said this, and I'm usually met with a lot of pushback on it, but I'm sorry, it's just not fun. Even besides all the issues it causes the server to have, and I will get to that, but for now, let's just stick to the actual event itself. The mission is derivative, it's boring, it drags out, and it's devoid of any feeling of urgency or importance, other than the fact that our comms are constantly being lit up with an NPC complaining about their needing supplies for the most boring part of the mission. Now, before you click off this video or rush to the comments section to defend Xenothreat, just hear me out for a bit longer first, because I have a pretty good idea of what you're about to say, and if you don't keep watching, your comment's going to make you look like a dummy to everyone else who did watch it. My name's Dead Leader, and please don't hate me. So, first off, let's look at how they advertise the mission. Yada yada yada, there's bad guys, yada yada yada, a big ship needs supplies. Go to this asteroid belt and load boxes, and every now and then some NPCs will be in the area, so you better swat them down. And that's the mission in a nutshell. And now, this might be a fun scene in a sci-fi movie, but in reality, it just plays out like a standard fetch quest, but with extra steps involved. You need to make enough money from moving boxes, nor do you make enough money fighting off Xenothreat. So there's no real financial incentive involved. There's just a bar that slowly increases until you get a small amount of money, compared to if you were just literally doing anything else in the verse at the time. So I asked a bunch of people in global chat who enjoy Xenothreat, what is it about this that you enjoy? And they all said, giant space dogfight, and I 100% agree. Xenothreat is Star Citizen's one big space dogfight event, and it's important to have that for the title. A way to get a bunch of players all together to have that kind of experience. It's a core defining feature of the space genre, especially one with so many ships in it. But other than that, the only other response I got was, it's good because if you don't like dogfighting, there's other things to do, aka the box moving, which is the most boring part. For those PTU enjoyers watching, you all know that Xenothreat was the dynamic event that they ran tests on more than anything else in 3.18, because it needed so much work to update with PES to get working. Almost every weekend during 2023 feels like I've participated in Xenothreat, and boy, did it not handle PES well, even compared to how it is running now, which is dreamy compared to how it was early on. If you flew your ship into the wreck area, your ship would respond sometimes 5 entire minutes from when you gave it a command. Your best option was literally just to drift out of the area until you could regain controls of your ship, because you were far away enough from the area that its tick rate kind of kicked back in. What? 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 The hell? And what I'm getting at here is that Xenothreat has the distinctive feeling of them trying to desperately salvage an old event and adapt it to work with the new PES system, which is causing much more work than if they had just scrapped the entire thing and made a new dogfighting event from the ground up to be optimized with the PES system. It's like trying to update an old car with the new parts, but nothing clicks in, so it all just breaks down as soon as you drive it out of the lot.
Hey, what are all these holes?
These are speed holes to make the car go faster.
Oh yeah, speed holes.
So I'm not the one just to poo-poo something without coming up with any other sort of ideas on how things could be better. So hear me out here. So let's look at what this could look like to provide the most optimized experience possible for everyone, and also make it more fun in the process. First of all, the whole running cargo boxes within the same areas that dogfighting is taking place, scrap that entire thing. way too many entities all in the same area of the game to keep track of, and also keep the dogfighting feeling responsive and exciting. That being said, people enjoy having something to do that's not dogfighting, who want to feel important to the mission, so let's give them something to do. But let's make sure that both of these participants that are working on this mission feel like they need the other team. Put the non-dogfighting participants on a security point Korea type space station and have them need to hold the security terminals against waves of NPCs spawning in through elevators to keep a machine providing supplies for the fleet. Those supplies need to be ferried into a storage crate on the other side of the station and occasionally will shut down, requiring those protecting the security terminals to hack it again to keep it moving. The end goal for this team is to fill as many supplies needed into the storage crates while they fight off waves of NPCs, and the more supplies filled, the larger payout per participant on the space station and fighting in space. Meanwhile, and the other part of the system are in a different space station, the dogfighting team will be fighting off hordes of ships who are trying to dock onto that space station to attempt to disrupt the uplink for the ground crew on the other space station. The better the dogfighting team do, the more supplies flow freely to the ground crew and bigger the payout in total. The event for the day would end once the enemy eventually has gained full control of the station, shutting down the ability for the ground crew to gain the bulk amount of supplies. From that point until the next day, when the second phase begins, people can still try and raid the enemy station to liberate more supplies for the other station, like a Korea/Jumptown hybrid, being paid per supply crate delivered to the UEE space station. Once phase 2 begins on the next day, goal is to undock the supply crates that were filled on the previous day and successfully help them to escape to safety. The space station is now the area the dogfighting is taking place as NPCs try to attack and destroy NPC-flown Hull Cs that are attempting to arrive and depart from the station. Payments are made to participants in batches for each Hull C that successfully escapes. The amount of Hull Cs that can fill up are determined by the previous day's success. Meanwhile, the ground crew's mission is now on the other space station. They must hold back NPCs to keep a series of servers online, which are enabling the turrets on the other station to stay online to help defend the Hull Cs. This type of mission structure does multiple things for the game to run better. It has less people all in the same area, so less information needs to be sent back and forth between players and the server, communicating what everyone's doing. It gets rid of the asteroids, causing more entity variances, while giving the space station the same function as them by providing a field for the battle so you can visually tell where you're supposed to be. It gives each group, the ground and aerial crew, motivation to want the other team to succeed, since payouts are higher for everyone dependent on each team's success at their task. It's a more interesting and dynamic mission structure, since you could have other lawless players trying to maybe help on the first day to increase the payout. Then on the second day, they could join the enemy and try and steal and sell the supplies themselves for an even larger individual payout, which just gives all the lawful players more motivation to get involved to secure the cargo. And look, that's it. That's my pitch. I made this video because I haven't enjoyed Xenothreat, ever. And it always feels really hard and difficult to explain to people why that frustrates me, because it's not so much that the event isn't working, but that it feels like it's just completely missed the point. So even if it was working, it wouldn't be working in the sense of, what it should be able to do as far as an enjoyable mission should go. And so whenever I would say that I don't enjoy Xenothreat, I think other people who also have dreams and ambitions of how it could play out and how it should be get defensive of that idea. And I feel like I have the same sort of idea of, how this dogfighting sort of event should be fun. And I just think it's close, but it just misses the mark just a little bit. So look, that's all I wanted to say about it. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any ideas, or, what you think about my proposition is, or what your experiences with Xenothreat is in particular. Have I gotten it wrong? Do you reckon I've gotten it right? I'd appreciate the discussion down below. Anyway, once again, my name's Dead Leader. I'll see you out there in the verse. And special shout outs to all my patrons. You're all the real ones. Thanks for the support.